technology intelligence studies, competitive intelligence studies, to find out whether, if indeed it's a commercially viable idea, how can you basically support it in the long run?
Sure.
The second important point is apart from the patent, is about management team. I think my colleagues mentioned about this. I read a book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard. If you've not read this book, please do read it. The book is called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard. And the first thing that they mention about that book, in that book, is that if you have a company which has got a B-class management team, but an A-class product, versus a company which has got an A-class management team versus B-class product, go for one where the A-class management team exists. Because it's the people who make business plans, people who basically navigate through the challenges of the market conditions, and at the end of the day, create value for the shareholders.
Anand, I'll have to stop you here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I have your perspective, Sanuj? Yeah.
Sure. I'm Sanuj Ravindran with Asian Healthcare Fund. We're based in Delhi. We're more of a growth capital fund, so we're a little bit limited in terms of how we look at biotechnology. We're not investing in pre-revenue types of businesses. But that being the case, there are still plenty of opportunities that are affiliated with the sector that we look at and will invest into, such as companies in the CRO space, both preclinical and clinical, companies that may be into formulation development. We talked yesterday about the needs in cold storage, so we've seen some opportunities in that space. So areas in which services are working to promote the industry as a whole.
Thanks. So the next question is for Sai. Yeah, Sai, how did you prepare, as an SME company when you raised first round of funding? How did you change your business model to sort of improve that? There is a good success rate, so that you're able to raise fund, So was there any tweaking required from your earlier plans? And, and each time you raised funding, was it like the same standard format worked, or you needed to really, really change the plan? So your perspective on this will be welcome.
Thanks, Vishal. Thanks, BioAsia and Vishal, for having me on this panel.
Pleasure.
The first answer to your question is we're still learning. I don't think we're perfect at the art yet.
Absolutely.
As the company progresses, there are new challenges that come on. And I think the strength of a management team, like what Anand was mentioning, is about how do you capture all those challenges and how do you tell your investors that, and what's your game plan to address those challenges. And whether you take a cross-section of what's going on in the industry now or 5 years ago or 5 years from now, there are going to be challenges. But yeah, so far we've looked at 3 or 4 business plans as a company that we've developed. I've been involved in 2 of those. There is a lot of maturity as you learn more about your own company, how you react in certain situations, and you bring all of that into a potential business plan. Also that you need to understand where your own market is going, where your own industry is going, where it's going to be 5 years from now. So when you talk to investors, they need to get an idea about whether, number one, you understand where your market is going and how well you're preparing for that. Sure. So these are important issues, and we do a lot of patenting ourselves. Excuse me. We think as a company, it's we're not right now. We make revenues and profits from generic vaccines and generic biotech products. But our future is purely going to be from innovative molecules and innovative vaccines where we have a very significant and a strong patent position from. And several of those molecules are in phase 2 or phase 3 clinical trials right now. So if you ask me this question 2 or 3 years from now, I'll have a completely different answer.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's about the stage, where you are. To raise fund for, I think, from 3 private equity funds, Tata Capital, Kotak, and, so I think it wasn't easy. But if you could give your perspective, Atul, on how did you sort of tweaked in your business plan to attract and improve the success rate of your funding,
Yeah, thanks, Vishal. Thanks, BioAsia. Just to give a quick background, we are V Life Sciences. We are a drug discovery development company with proprietary technology for molecular interactions and screening. And we have got pipeline programs. One of it is at an IND stage. Coming back to the question, I will certainly second the thoughts expressed by Sai that it's a stage and the maturity of the company as well as the management team. To certain extent, even the investor representatives on the board, as we progress through, as we start moving to the landscape and as we start maneuvering through the challenges, it evolves to certain extent. Having said that, I will also highlight the fact that as a strategy for our type of company, we always believe that we need to screen the ideas for what we call as IP-able ideas, like what can be made into an IP that will have a significant business proposition.
Sure.
So that's the only bit I thought I would add to it. And well, yes, team definitely is very important, and also a very good mix of, I would say, passion and reason. So that could be maybe another bit from my side.
Yeah, and I think I have to mention that Atul comes from a very technical background, which has nothing to do with biotechnology, and so his founder, Supreet, and so I think it's commendable that they have actually worked on a platform which is a virtual drug discovery platform, and improved the success rate of bringing it to IND level. I think it's commendable because I've worked with drug discovery space and I know how hard it is to get to the IND stage, and without too much spending, but still they were able to bring it to IND stage. It's commendable. Thank you, Atul, for being here. Fantastic.
It's always an interesting question that entrepreneurs need to ask themselves, and obviously the answer differs a little bit depending on the business model that the company is following. So for biotech companies, obviously, I mean, when you don't need the money, that's when you go out. You don't want to go out when you have 3 months of cash remaining, and the lights need to be kept on with some funding from the promoters themselves. So yes, I think in the service industry, I think, which is probably the more kind of difficult one to time, the comment I just make is that the one thing which we see a lot, across businesses, is the I would say the decision making in terms of should you go for dilution or should you go for growth. And that's a standard question which, no matter what the business model is, entrepreneurs struggle with. And many times, unfortunately, I've seen people fall on the other side of the equation, where people, even if it's obvious to them the business will grow at 25% per annum, but if there's a 10% or a 15% delta in valuation, they'd rather just hold off for 2 years and then raise money at that valuation, which makes no economic sense whatsoever if you look at how value is created and the percentage that someone holds in a company. So I'd say that the focus on growth and the focus on just taking the company to the next level, depending on the business model, will dictate the periodicity of funding. But I would just mention that in a country like India, which is growing rapidly, and if the numbers are correct regarding all these different healthcare subsegments, it makes sense to fund periodically, starting with smaller amounts. Everyone loves their baby. No one wants to give up control. That's standard. But at the same time, there's a time to take the company to the next level, and maybe start small, and over a period of time, there's some comfort developed between the entrepreneur and this strange beast called venture capital or private equity that comes and sits on the board of a company. So as that comfort matures, I think the prioritization of growth becomes even more important. We are looking to add value in companies, and we are, I mean, shame on us if we manage 6 billion in capital for healthcare, and we cannot help a company grow from a strategic perspective. So yes, the answer is yes, but I also think that it's not such a slam dunk in terms of that they don't need money. I think it's all a function of where you want to take your company. If anyone is happy, kind of growing from 20 crores through 35 crores through 70 crores, and that's the progression over a period of time, you'll never build a Wuxi, right?
Sure.
So to build a Wuxi, you need to think bigger and fund yourself accordingly as well.
Sure. I think Dr. Mukherjee has already answered that he's not averse to investing in SMEs, and he's also open to investing in large corporates. So I think in your scheme of things, this automatically has been answered. But still, if you want to add something, I would love to appreciate it.
Yeah, when we, as I told you in the beginning in my first statement, that we don't look at the size of the companies per se. You have to have a credible plan, take it. But what we experience in funding small companies, I would like to add here, when we are funding a